Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the language of business. Today we're diving into a filing from Borealis Foods, and I'll tell you what, there are some ownership details in here that are messier than my desk on a Monday morning. This filing amends a previous annual report due to miscalculations of ownership stakes held by key executives and a major investor. We're going to cut through the confusion, highlight the significant ownership changes, and assess what this all means for the company's direction. Before we jump in, if you're into getting clear insights from these kinds of corporate documents, make sure to subscribe. We also have a Discord community linked in the description where you can discuss these filings with other investors. Now let's get to it. So this isn't your typical annual report. This is amendment number 2, meaning they've already had to correct their initial filing once before. This second amendment focuses on fixing errors in the beneficial ownership table, which shows who really controls the company. It seems some individuals and institutional investors were either left out or their stakes were incorrectly calculated. That's a pretty big deal because it impacts governance and who calls the shots. Let's dig into the corrected numbers. Alright, we're at the part of the report that details who owns what. Now, this section of the report details who owns how many shares of Borealis Foods. Beneficial ownership is not just about who directly holds the shares, but also who has the power to vote those shares or sell them. This includes stock options or warrants that can be converted into shares soon, specifically within 60 days. Scroll, TES directors and executive officers, TAFTIT is okay, so the updated information shows that all the directors and top executives as a group own about 10,847 more than before. The math was wrong earlier. That means the leadership team collectively has a significant say in what happens at Borealis when they work together as a group that is, scroll to buy stockers later. Scroll, sir. Here's where things get interesting. The document states that Accession Capital Pty Ltd controls 13.14% of the company shares, or 46.14% of the company. That's a hefty slice. It includes both directly held shares and shares obtainable through warrants, which are essentially options to buy stock at a set price later. That is quite a lot to keep in mind. Almost half the pie belongs to them. Scroll Reza Kal Sultan Zaid Sroz, let us not forget, has a sizable chunk too. He owns around 17,221% of the total voting power. This consists of shares held by Zagros, Alpine Capital ULC and Z Ventures Inc. He is the president of both. Scroll Bafar Kawi Limited Scroll Yarn. Now check on Belfar Ltd. They own 2,848 2D. They own 2,080.46% of the company. Shuhrat Ibrahimov is the controlling shareholder here. Scroll Shukrat Ibrahimov. So it is stated that Shukrat Ibrahimov is in control of Belfar Ltd. So you have to keep these connections in mind as it indicates how the company might be run and who are the bigger influencers. Scroll Stephen Claw, Weeks and Scroll. He also noticed that Stephen Wiegand, the Chief Financial Officer, owns 33,046 shares, and Eartharin Cousin has no shares. Scroll Stephen Quo, Wugs and Scroll. Now that the numbers are accurate, what does this all mean? Well, Accession Capital has a very large, very influential stake, and the executives, being a group, have significant total amount of shares. This setup concentrates power, meaning decisions at Borealis are likely heavily influenced by these key players. If there are issues between the different people in charge, it could affect what happens with the company. Now let's briefly glance at the exhibits. This section lists all the contracts, agreements, and other documents that provide a deeper dive into Borealis' operations and legal obligations. It's a laundry list, but it's important to know these things exist. Finally, we have the certifications. These are statements from the CEO and CFO swearing that the information in this amended filing is accurate. It's their way of saying, we double-checked and this is correct. These are included because the original report had mistakes and the executives need to vouch for the corrected version. Actually, now for a broader perspective on Borealis Foods. The big takeaway here is that ownership matters because it dictates control. This amended filing aims to clarify who holds that control. With Accession Capital Pty Ltd holding a significant stake, they're going to be a major force in shaping Borealis' future. The major weakness I see is that it isn't a good sign, it isn't a vote of confidence when mistakes happen, and people need to file amendments like this. When numbers are wrong, especially about who owns the company, it might be quite worrying. There is notable risks overall. I am not an expert on Borealis, but what I do see isn't particularly strong. While they appear well positioned, I find that more information needs to be delivered before I even consider investing. There is little growth in their business model for me to want to buy their products. Alright, that's our breakdown of Borealis Foods' amended filing. What's your take on these ownership stakes and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description, Athene. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next investigation.